Senior political commentator Matt Lewis, a senior columnist for the Daily Beast, and Nomiki Kunst, an investigative reporter for the Young Turks. Good to have all of you on. Matt, I want to start with you and ask you about this New York Times reporting tonight. National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster breaking with the president, not calling terrorists Islamists, radical Islamists, and signaling what might be a more moderate approach to the Islamic world. Do you think so?
Well, I'm going to be very interested to see how this plays out. Does he walk this back? Is this reporting solid? Because this is surprising. I mean, I think that calling it radical Islamism is the moderate position. You don't want to accuse all Muslims of being involved in something bad, but calling it radical, that qualifier, and then Islamism, I think, is the accurate and even, dare say, politically correct term. So, but I have great respect for General McMaster and the work he did in the surge and counterinsurgency. So if anybody has the credibility to say this is the wrong terminology, he would be one of the people.
Yeah, Alan, I know you want to respond to this, and again, this is New York, and you bring up a very good point, Matt. This is New York Times reporting, not CNN's reporting, but go on, Alan.
Well, first of all, I think Trump is right to call it radical Islamic terrorism. When I represented the Jewish Defense League back in the 1970s, everybody called it extreme Jewish terrorism, extremist Jewish terrorism. It was done in the name, in the false name of Judaism, and this is done in the false name of Islam, but it's done in the name of Islam. I actually think it's a good thing to have the National Security Advisor, who is an expert in this, use a more moderate term. There's no reason why there shouldn't be disagreement within the executive branch. The president can continue to use his term, which I do support, and the National Security Advisor uses his term because he wants to maintain good relations with the Arab allies, the Jordanians, the Egyptians, the Saudis, the Emirates. So I think it's a good thing to have different voices using different phrases, as long as nobody uses the term Islamic terrorism without the preface of radical or extremist.
No, Mickey?
Well, I think that it plays into the hands of exactly what those extremists want. They want us to label them as radical Islamic terrorists so that they can amp up their base, collect more money, organize the grassroots. That is what ISIS does. They go on the internet and they use this as ammunition to grow their base of support. And that is what McMaster knows. Now, what I'm curious about is, and with all due respect, Mr. Dershowitz, in a real, in a normal presidency, of course you'd have those differences of opinions, but this is not a normal presidency. And on the third day, the NSA advisor, the new NSA advisor, counters a main talking point out of the president's administration. I'm curious to see what the president will do. Is he going to fire another national security advisor? Because that'll just make him look weak. Exactly.
No, not if he's smart. He'll maintain the diversity of views, and he'll say, this is what my national security advisor believes, this is what I believe. I welcome the disagreements, and I think it will work out fine. In terms of encouraging ISIS, I just never buy that argument. ISIS doesn't need encouragement. It has its recruiting methodologies. I don't see how calling something by its true name helps ISIS, and we shouldn't be making policy based on what ISIS is going to do.
And we should do, and I think Matt is exactly right. Let's see how this plays out and what the actual truth is, what shakes out here before we come to some sort of conclusion about exactly what this is.